The Republican governor of the state of Nebraska, Jim Pillen, has refused to accept $18 million worth of federal aid that would only cost the state about $300,000 in administrative fees. And that's because he doesn't believe in welfare and the money would be used to provide food for children living in poverty during the summer break. Now, these are students who receive school lunches during summer break. They don't have access to that food. So the whole point is for the federal government to help subsidize these states so they can provide this program to low-income children. But apparently he's so against welfare and helping these kids that he has decided to reject the money. Now, the federal aid is specifically for the 2024 Summer Electronic Benefits Transfer Program. And this is again, an EBT program for low-income children. The program, part of a federal assistance made available during the COVID-19 pandemic, would provide preloaded EBT cards to families whose children are eligible for free and reduced price lunches at school. Those families would receive $40 per eligible child per month over the summer. That's it, it's $40 a month during the summer. And he's like, I don't like welfare. It's too much help. That's too much government aid to people living in poverty. Okay, so like SNAP benefits, those cards could then be used to buy groceries. And the program was started during the pandemic, but has since become more permanent, probably because it was successful and people like knowing that the government is actually looking out for them when they need help. One Nebraska mother explained how the program would improve the life of herself and her child in an online petition, saying, everything is expensive. Look, we've all experienced this with inflation. I'm a single mom who works full time and my budget is already spread so thin. My son plays sports and as a growing boy, he could practically eat a hole through the wall. It feels like it never stops. The extra money for food would free up money for things like bills and savings and car maintenance. The US Department of Agriculture estimated that the program would benefit 175,000 children in Nebraska. But despite weeks of bipartisan pushback, so there are Republicans in the state who are like, please don't reject this money. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen refused to accept the federal aid. Pillen insisted last week that the state would continue to help food insecure children through the Summer Food Service Program, which provides meals and snacks at various sites when school is not in session. Providing on-site services also allows providers to spot and report issues like malnutrition, neglect, and abuse in children, he said. But why not make this whole process easier with more resources that are given to you literally by the federal government? You're not increasing taxes toward your constituents in the state. It just doesn't make any sense to me. In the end, I fundamentally believe that we solve the problem and I don't believe in welfare.
Yeah, okay, so there's a couple things here. Number one, what do you mean you don't believe in welfare? Doesn't it depend? So a person who used to work here, Steve-O, once told a story of how his family first came to America from South Korea. And for a while, they really needed food stamps and they couldn't live without it. But then they worked super hard. They got their own 7-Eleven and then his family made it from there. And he wound up going to Ivy League school and doing really well, etc. right? And that was a critical help for him. Now, on the other hand, do some people get stuck in a system of dependencies? Some do. So the left people always say like, oh, no one ever does. That's unrealistic, guys. Obviously, some people become dependent on some aid that you give them because we're humans and we have a range of reactions, right?
Yeah, and by the way, I used to be one of those people on the left who thought, no, like people want a sense of purpose, they want to work hard, like there's no way, but no, there are definitely people who become dependent on it. So you have to balance that out and make sure that you're definitely helping people in need. I believe in that strong safety net, but some people, unfortunately, it ends up being detrimental.
Yeah, so if he were to say, look, I have a little bit different view on how long the social safety net should last and what the conditions should be, etc. That would be an interesting political discussion and a fair one, right? And we might have a different point of view we would definitely have a different point of view than he does, but you debate that out. When he says it's basically free money that helps 175,000 of my citizens, but I don't want it because of my so-called principles. Well, that doesn't make any sense. because you're not going to get dependent on $40, right? And look, think about it. I know it's a tiny bit of apples and oranges, but think about it this way. So I run a business. If somebody said to me, hey, you give me $300,000 and I'm going to give you $18 million. Okay, assuming that it's not a Nigerian prince and I didn't get it in an email, right? I would say, duh, yeah, in exchange of $300,000 for $18 million is a giant, giant win, right? But he's turning away that giant win. Why? Because of principle? No, because he wants to make a point politically. He wants to tell Republican voters, I will be gratuitously mean. If someone needs help, I will hurt them instead. And unfortunately, that works in Republican primaries. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. Otherwise, he'd get so much blowback, he'd lose his election. But instead, it'll probably help him politically, and that's super sad.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.